this event to welcome our next delegate, John Bell and Anish Chopra. I would like to request to take a seat over here, and I do apologize for being a little late, but we are still expecting a few more neighbors and friends and families and our brothers and sisters. At this point, I would like to request Mr. Anish Chopra, Chief Technology Officer, to take a seat.
We don't need to sit.
Come on, you have to do that now.
We'll sort of hang out here.
I would like to request Mr. John Bell to have a seat here, or whatever we can do.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while. you will be tired. By the time. And we are going to start this program with a few announcements. I'm happy to introduce here, and I'm very thankful for everybody to coming and attend this program with these short notices. And as you all know John Bell many years ago. You have done enough effort to get him next delegate, but we couldn't succeed at that time because of this many votes, which is less than 10 votes. And this time I really kind of want you to talk to your friends, families, and all these respected medias to give enough emphasis for John so that he could lead this next election. And I would like to introduce and give a little bit about our brother, my god brother, Anish Chopra Saab. He has started his career, and he has been able to prove that this Commonwealth of Virginia is the best in the United States of America and also around the world. And one example I would like to give you. During the time, sometimes early 90s, I know some of you were here. What happened was right after his college and some experience, he went to work when the governor, Tim Kaine, was in Richmond as a governor of our Commonwealth. That is the time we lead to this California, Orange County, and been able to prove that this Commonwealth is best in technology, and he has been able to demonstrate as a Chief Technology Officer of this Commonwealth, and he proved that Commonwealth is #1, and specifically this Loudoun County is one of the prosperous county in the whole United States, and we are proud of it, and because of him, because those days Tim Kaine as a governor and Anish Chopra as a Chief Technology Officer, they have done enough kind of effort to attract this IT industry to come to this Commonwealth. And that's why today we are proud of Fairfax County, and Loudoun County is one of the technology hub. And this is not over the night kind of effort. This took long time for him and his team to do that. And after done as a Chief Technology Officer for Commonwealth of Virginia, he moved with President Obama to White House, and John Bell is our
delegate.
next, delegate for that. So I would like to request our Loudoun County Democratic Committee's Vice Chair, Joe Pavis, to let this silk scarves with all the best wishes, in Nepalese and Tibetan and Asian tradition. When you give this kind of scarves with all the best wishes, he or she will accomplish their goal and all these things. I would like to
58
request
days, we're going to see the success of the scarves.
yes.
To John Bell.
John Bell. Okay.
All right, John.
John, okay.
All right. Looking good, man.
Thank you. And now I would like to request Sarita Sharma to let this Tibetan. This is a typical Tibetan, scripts, and this is also talks about a lot of words. It means, what it's written in here. This is for all the best wishes to Anish Chopra, our chief guest, also for this.
All
event.
right. Thank you. Yay.
Do I need a ladder?
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well done.
Thank you. Now I would like to request Joe Pavis very short 2 minutes speech regarding this Loudoun County Democratic Committee, because we both work, and just a quick kind of summary.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for hosting us, Hari. I'd like to say that this precinct we're in now, the Carter precinct, in 2012 was the strongest precinct in the entire county for President Obama, and is a large part of the reason why he carried the county and the state. And a large part of the success of President Obama here in Carter Precinct is because of the support of Americans of South Asian descent, and we appreciate that support, and we hope that you'll bring that same support to John Bell. We've been very pleased with also with the involvement of members of the South Asian community, including Anjan Jamaluddin, who we endorsed for school board in 2011, and we're also proud to have elected Hari Sharma as the treasurer of the Loudoun County Democratic Committee, and we are grateful for his efforts. And though the LCDC was unable to, was not allowed by rules to take an official position on a contested Democratic primary, a great many of us were proud to have voted for Anish in that as well. And we look forward to the continued participation of great Democrats from the South Asian community here in Loudoun County. So thank you again for your support, and thanks for your support of John Bell.
I want to share a few words about John and why I think he's going to make a phenomenal delegate. I met John over the course of this election cycle, and we had an instant connection about a shared vision for Virginia's future. John's attitude is the right attitude for Richmond. He wants to solve problems. He's going to bring people together, and he's going to make sure that good ideas get implemented so that the Commonwealth of tomorrow is even better than the Commonwealth of today. What's special about Virginia, as all of you know, is that we birthed American democracy. So for those of us who moved here later in life, or immigrated here, my dad came to the United States in '66, a year after President Johnson opened up the immigration. By the way, I don't know how that worked in Nepal, but in India there was a 100-person cap. If you didn't have, you couldn't get into the country if you were number 101. President Johnson lifted those caps and allowed a number of folks to move and immigrate into the United States, and that had a tremendous impact on what the future of America looked like. And you don't have to go any further than Loudoun County to see that future in action. In the Asian community, it's literally 15% of the population of this incredibly important county. And Joe, to his credit, gave you the sense that this is important to President Obama. More generally speaking, as Loudoun goes, Virginia goes. And if you look at our history as being the birthplace of American democracy, our future means that we owe it it's on our shoulders to show the rest of the country that we can fix healthcare, that we can fix energy, education, transportation, that we can solve big problems so that we have a successful life for our children and our grandchildren. That's going to happen because leadership in Loudoun will go to Richmond, and Loudoun will reflect the values of Virginia, and the leader of that movement has to be our man, John Bell. So I ask you today, whatever you can do, knock on doors, call your friends, reach your neighbors. Here's some data. For every door you knock, we think we can increase voter turnout 5%. For every person that you reach through phone calls and outreach, we think we can get another 4% turnout. And even on cell phones and modern technologies, we think we can boost turnout another 2% if you can get a network of your friends, you text remind them and say, hey, by the way, come on in, Facebook friends, and so forth. So there's a lot of ways we can reach people and to have an impact. I came up short in my primary, but I am proud of the fact that we won 97% of this precinct. We quadrupled turnout from the last LG primary, doubled turnout from the previous primary in 2009. So this is a very important neighborhood. Elections are won neighborhood to neighborhood, friend to friend, and this is where I think the rubber meets the road. So the success of Carter for John means John will win. The success of Carter for Loudoun means that Terry McAuliffe will win, and the whole straight ticket. And that we will wake up the next morning on November 6th and say, wow, I feel better about Virginia's future. So if you want to feel better about Virginia's future, let's elect.
For opening up your homes for all of us today, and how about the wonderful food that they provided?
That was yummy.
Anish, I really appreciate your presence here today and your support. As he said, we connected during the campaign, and we quickly found that we had a great deal of common ground and ideas that we both believed in very strongly. And I look forward to partnering with Anish to work on many of these things going forward. because as Anish believes, I believe that technology is a key for growing our economy in Virginia. I believe we can have great productivity gains here in Loudoun County and use the wonderful workforce, the very talented workforce, to have jobs closer to home. Also believe that we need to focus on STEM education, science, technology, engineering, math, to provide technology professionals for the future. This is our children. This is their opportunity. So in Loudoun County, I'd love to see us enhance the Academy of Sciences to make it a standalone facility. And Anish, I look forward to partnering with you in all those things to make our Commonwealth a better place to live. A couple of things I'll say about my background. As Hari said, I'm a retired Air Force officer. I was a finance officer when I was in the military. So managing money, balancing budgets, working to find efficiencies, and working with everyone who was involved is the way we work. And that's the way I believe we should work here in Virginia. All stakeholders together, find efficiencies, find better ways of doing things, and solve problems. And that's what my service will be about. The priorities that I see for us are really reducing the time we spend in traffic, reducing our commutes. Yeah, we all clap for that. We have one of the toughest commutes in the United States here. I'm a frustrated commuter. There's many things we need to do. There's no one solution. There's many solutions. And this is what I'll work for as a priority. It's a daily issue that we face, and the time that we spend in traffic takes time away from our families. It takes time away from doing what we want to do. It's not just a business issue, it's a family issue, and it's one we really need to focus on. Schools, I talked about that briefly. I'm very proud to say I've been endorsed by the Loudoun and the Virginia Education Associations. My mother's a retired teacher. I volunteer at Freedom High School. I've been the boys tennis coach there for the last 6 years. So education and our children is very important to me, and it's something I'll focus on as well. I talked about STEM education. We need to redo the SOLs and modernize them. We can definitely help our children and give them a better tomorrow. We need to make sure our teachers can afford to live where they work. We need to make sure that our children have the opportunity to succeed that we've had, so we can make our society better going forward. And lastly, creating jobs. I talked about that a little bit, but I think that's a focus issue here in Loudoun County. Create jobs closer to home. That's another way of solving our transportation problem. You don't have to go so far to go to work. You can go to work right here at home, and you'd be much closer to go to after-school activities for children and participate in many other things. So roads, jobs, and schools, everyday issues that can make a difference. That's what my service will be about. And I think in the House of Delegates it's critical because this is a part-time job. 1 year you're there for 2 months, 1 year there for 1 month. So we don't have time to focus on divisive issues.
That's right.
We have time to focus on everyday issues to make our lives better. To differentiate myself, I'm running against David Ramadan. He voted against transportation every time he had an opportunity to vote for it. That's important because we have one of the toughest commutes in America, and when he had a chance to do something about it, he said no. He said no to us. He put ideology above the needs of the people who live here. When I have those votes, I'm going to think of you, and I'm going to think of your families, and I will vote yes for transportation improvement. Education, his 2-year voting score in education is one of the lowest in Virginia, 38 out of 100. Now, when I was in school, been a while.
That's not a good score.
38, I got an F. That's not a good score. You know, this is a focus area for me. That's why I moved to this area, because we have wonderful schools. We need to do everything we can to keep these schools wonderful. The other thing that I think is critically important, as you said, I served in the military. I was proud to do that. I served in a combat zone. I had a 9mm weapon on my hip for 6 months. We carried large sums of cash. Sometimes we went into bad places where we were dangerous. So we had to do that. So I know a little bit about firearms, and I've dealt with them before. I think we need some common sense reform, some common sense measures to prevent gun violence. And I think it's long overdue talking about this because, you know, the idea that a criminal or someone with mental illness could go and buy an assault weapon without being stopped, we need to say enough and have some common sense for this issue. I'm in favor of universal background checks, closing the gun show loophole. My opponent, he believes we should have no gun safety restrictions whatsoever. That's a powerful statement. That means guns in bars, which he supports. Guns at sporting events. Guns in churches. These are extreme things. You know, guns, alcohol, they don't mix. You know, I think we need to do everything we can to have a safer community and protect our children. And the way we can do that is some common sense to this long overdue issue. The last thing I'll talk about briefly is I believe reproductive choices should be into the woman's hand. It should not be taken away into the politician's hand. So I believe that women are smart enough and should make their own decisions, and government should not be involved in these intimate, private, personal areas. My opponent said his #1 priority when he went to Richmond was taking away a women's reproductive rights. These are constitutional rights. These are rights I believe in. And again, I have 2 daughters and 2 granddaughters, and I don't want any politician telling them what they have to do with their body or what they can't do. It's just not right, and it's not America. So this is something else that I will stand up and fight for, because it's a right that we cannot give away. I thank you again for all coming out here today. I ask for your support. Please go on my Facebook page and friend me. Follow the campaign there. We have constant announcements. Everything we do, we want you to be a part of. This is really your campaign. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me there. Anish is a phenomenal tweeter as well. You go in there to see him. And I'll ask that you also join in as Anish